If I bought every item that influencers told me I needed to have, then I would surely be in so much more debt and my bank account would be crying. I'm going to be sharing with you the 12 must-have items that I'm skipping on buying in 2025, not because I don't like to buy new things and have nice things, but mainly because I am on a journey of rebuilding my personal finances and working towards long-term financial freedom, one intentional decision at a time. Hi, if you are new here, my name is Sydney, and I am on a journey of building financial freedom, and I am bringing you along with me in real time as I pay off debt and learn how to budget in order to make better financial decisions and reach my financial goals. Okay, let's jump into the first item that I will not be buying this year, and that is going to be Labubus and blind boxes. To be honest, I didn't even know what these were until maybe like a month or two ago when I had to look up what a Labubu was. And when I saw what it was, I did think, oh my gosh, they are really cute. However, I'm really not the type of person to collect items personally. Mainly because I don't like a lot of clutter and junk, and that's kind of what I see it as over time. Is right now it's just a trend and a fad that everyone is buying, and I'm sure it is fun. So if collecting items is your thing, go for it. But personally, I would rather save the money because I think they're like $20 to $30 a piece plus shipping. And then for the limited edition Labubus or blind boxes and ones that are, I guess, more rare, they can be up to $100 or more. And personally, on this journey of paying off debt, I would just rather put that money towards my credit card and getting rid of that. So I will not be buying any of these blind boxes or Labubus, even though they might be cute and it is tempting right now. I just think it's a trend and a fad. And over time, I just see it collecting dust and sitting there and kind of overwhelming me. Like, what would I do with all of these when I'm kind of over it? So the next item I will not be buying would be electrolyte packets. So I feel like every influencer is promoting electrolyte packets, which is totally fine. Don't get me wrong, I used to love Liquid IV, but nowadays I really just can't justify the price because per packet, depending on the brand that you get, it can be between $1 to $3 for one packet of electrolytes. And I think they are good and they can be useful, especially if you play sports and you work out a lot. It is super important to stay hydrated. However, I think for like everyday, daily living, you probably don't need electrolyte packets or powders. And that money could be saved and put towards something else. And honestly, we fall into the trap of then kind of being in like a subscription cycle. Even if you don't put it on a subscription, usually you only get like 30 to 40 packets, which is pretty much a month supply, like one per day or less if you're drinking two per day. And personally, I just drink water and I'll put a pinch of salt in it. And that is also another way to save on electrolyte packets while still being hydrated. So I'm just gonna pass on electrolyte packets because that is easily $30 to $90 per month that you could be saving. The third item I will be skipping on buying is going to be protein powder. This also kind of falls in the health category. I think health is super important, and I'm personally someone who is willing to spend and splurge money on health items. But when it comes to protein powder, I just think there's so many protein powders on the market, and they can be super astronomical and expensive. And again, I find that it falls into kind of like a subscription cycle where a lot of protein bags or containers only give you a scoop where it measures out to be basically about a month's supply. And I just find it to be really expensive. And personally, I work on trying to incorporate protein just in my meals that I cook. So I know this depends also on people's personal dietary restrictions and people's personal eating habits, but I try to get my protein from eggs, chicken, beef, cottage cheese, yogurt, anything like that is where I'm trying to supplement and get my protein. I also like to eat sardines and fish. To me, getting it from Whole Foods can be a healthier alternative because sometimes too, you don't know what additives or fillers are in protein powders. And so I just try to be really mindful when I'm looking and sourcing for protein powder if I do buy it. But overall, I have not been purchasing protein powder because especially if I try to search for a brand that is cleaner and healthier, it's quite expensive. About, I think like $50 to $60 for about a month's supply if you are using it daily. The next item is going to be very much in line with the electrolyte powder packets and the protein powder, but it's going to be green powders. Now, I used to fall for this too, and I used to feel like I needed to have green powders, and I think they can be helpful. Not that they're totally a waste, but I do think that they're overpriced oftentimes. Again, you're only getting enough for a 30-day supply, and you're going to fall into the subscription cycle of needing to purchase it every single month. And easily with the electrolytes, protein powders, and green powders, I could see that easily being over $100 to $200 per month if you are using it and you're constantly having to reorder it. Now, I understand if to you it's a justified purchase because you feel like it helps you and you're actually getting use out of it and you're using it. But overall, I think you can also skip greens powders and just take something more like a multivitamin. I personally think that sometimes the way we approach health and clean living and healthy habits sort of seems like a one size fits all when we are all trying to use whether it's a green powders or just a general multivitamin. And I think what might be best is maybe doing your own personal lab work when you go in for your annual wellness check and seeing like what vitamins or supplements should I actually work on providing and taking daily for my own personal health needs rather than just taking something so general that you maybe don't even need. And it would be better to save your money and put it towards either paying off debt, towards your other bills, or just something else that you might actually get more benefit from. The next item I will not be purchasing this year would be luxury handbags. So personally, I'll be honest, I've never had the budget for it. I've never been wealthy enough to afford luxury handbags. Although I would say that, I've had friends when even I worked part-time in college, they would save their money and spend it on like an Yves Saint Laurent bag or a Prada bag or something like that. So it's not like something I couldn't save for if I really wanted it. But personally, it's not something I find that I would get happiness from. I find luxury handbags just to be a material good. And oftentimes, I don't carry that much with me. I'll put a lip gloss, my keys, my phone, and wallet in my handbag. And it just doesn't make sense to me to spend anywhere from $2,000 to maybe even $10,000 on a designer or a luxury handbag. And oftentimes I find when these purchases are really hyped up, it's more of the feeling that people are chasing rather than them actually wanting the product. Or they see other influencers and other people online who buy these products and these handbags, and they are striving for the aesthetic feeling that they feel like they might achieve once they make that purchase. And at the end of the day, I'm really not a materialistic person like that. And I just know that my personal happiness would not be improved by getting a handbag. And it's also just not going to reduce like my stress and anxiety when I have bills and debt to pay off. It would honestly contribute to it when I know I spent money on something that is really unnecessary. Now, the next item falls in line with the luxury handbags, but I will also not be purchasing any Dupe luxury handbags. And so I think, was it last year or this year? And I'm sure it's still popular just because I know there are a lot of women out there, and no shade at all. Like, please do you and spend your money on what makes you feel good. But I just don't find the need to buy any Dupe luxury handbags like I think it was the Dupe Hermes bag that was going viral, and you could buy it at Walmart. And I think it was only like $80, but I know that they have a ton of Dupe luxury handbags out there, anywhere from like $80 to probably the $500 range. And that is, again, something I just don't feel I need. And in all honesty, I have been using the same thrifted Nine West little handbag or tote bag from the thrift store. That is my one, like, I guess, dressier handbag, and it's not even that nice. It has more of a like just casual vintagey vibe. It's definitely nothing like high end or designer looking. I got it at Goodwill, I think in 2008. I probably paid no more than like $5 or $10, and that is like my go-to bag when I'm going to something a little bit nicer. And on a daily basis, I actually just use a black fanny pack that I got from TJ Maxx, which I think was like $30. And so for me, it's just not a necessary purchase, and I know that I'm not going to have any type of real like fulfillment from spending my money on a bag that ultimately just holds my items when I'm going to the grocery store. And I just don't go anywhere where I need something really nice and fancy looking. Item number 7 that I will not be buying this year is going to be skincare products. So this is something I have really worked hard to cut back on and not impulse buy, but I have fallen before for the 10-step to 15-step skincare routine where you need the toner, the 3 to 5 different serums, and then the 2 to 3 different moisturizers and all of that. And honestly, it really never made a huge difference in my skin. If anything, sometimes I broke out even more just because I think I was putting products on my skin that might not have really been necessary for my personal skin type. And oftentimes I think we're just looking for that miracle cure to be that like, aha, this really solved my skincare and like I'm aging backwards kind of feeling. But I find that like really never happens anytime I splurge or I even spend more money on like a luxury skincare brand product. I do have an eye cream that I purchased, and I think it was like $80. I forget what the brand is. It might be, is it Fresh? It's like a French brand. And I do like the eye cream, but it didn't like magically get rid of all of my eye wrinkles. And I just feel like it kind of does the same amount of work that my other eye serum does that was maybe only $30. And so every time I would find myself, having maybe a breakout or just going through like a rough patch with my skin, I would like hop on Amazon or go online and research like what new product was out there, what was everyone using, and what can I buy? And then I would convince myself that I needed all of these products to make my skin look beautiful and glassy and to get that like Korean skincare look. But oftentimes, the people who are promoting those products, one, they might be sponsored, and also, a lot of times it plays into genetics, how other people's skincare or skin is, and just their daily habits. So we already all know that a lot of times what our skin is reflecting is what's on the inside. So the first thing we need to look at is if we're getting enough sleep, if we're hydrating enough, and if we're eating whole, healthy foods. That is honestly going to make the biggest impact on our skin. So this year, I am just cutting out impulse buying on skincare, even though it's something I absolutely love. I love trying new products as well. But every time I go into the bathroom now, I'm actually feeling a little bit of pride and joy in the fact that I've been able to empty out containers. I've been using what I have, and I don't have just like a whole shelf or drawer full of a ton of products that are barely used. I'm actually using what I already have, and I'm working towards just only buying a product when I actually run out. And in the long run, this will save like even hundreds of dollars in a year, because I'm sure if you reflect on the amount of makeup and skincare products and moisturizers and serums and eye creams that you've bought over this year alone, you could probably easily calculate that you've spent a couple $100s that you could have saved and put towards either your groceries, your bills, or paying off debt. Number 8 on the list that I will not be buying this year is giving into sales. It took me so long, honestly, I think up to this year, to realize that sales are literally just a marketing strategy to get you to buy things. If you notice, there is almost between a 10 to 20% off sale, like every weekend, like across various different stores. I noticed that a place I do like to shop is Gap, because they have cute and affordable clothes, but they have a sale probably every weekday, weekend, and month. And I've just noticed that no matter what, they know when you put the items in your shopping cart and you leave their website, they know to send you a follow-up email saying like, hey, you forgot something in your shopping cart, and we would love to give you like a 10% off coupon or a 15% off coupon. And they're doing that so that way they can get you to spend your money. Even though it seems so enticing that you're getting that discount and you're telling yourself, oh, I'm getting a sale on this. Like this t-shirt went from like $20 to now being like $17. Honestly, the like $2 to $3 that you're saving doesn't make up for the overall like $80 to $200 that you got in your shopping cart that you're about to purchase. So keep in mind that oftentimes all of these sales that are constantly being thrown in your face, that are flashing on your Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and across YouTube, they are really just enticing you to buy and spend your money, and they know how to do that, which is telling you you're getting a discount on an item that already should be marked down like cheaper than it really is. Overall, I'm just not going to be spending money on clothes this year. If you've noticed, I mostly wear a black t-shirt and a white t-shirt in my YouTube videos. And in the past, one of the things that stopped me from starting a YouTube channel like years ago was that I felt like I didn't have enough clothes and I couldn't afford to have nice clothes to wear in all the different videos that I wanted to make, which was the silliest thing. Like, I thought that I needed to have a nice wardrobe and have a variety of clothes. And I think we all fall for that, whether it's in our Instagram photos, on our stories, and when we're going out, we think we need to have a variety of cute outfits and clothes. And that's just not the case. I have gotten comfortable with being like, you know what? I can't afford to do that. I am not willing to risk my credit score and my financial well-being for looking cute and looking trendy. I would rather just wear a white t-shirt or a black t-shirt because that's really all I need. So that was a long rant. All that to say, I will not be spending money on clothes that are on sale. Number 9 on the list that I will not be spending money on is going to be seasonal home decor. So I used to want to always decorate my home just because I grew up in a home environment where my mom really liked to decorate the home, and it was nice and it was festive, don't get me wrong, but almost every year I would see that we would have new like Halloween decor, Christmas decor, whatever holiday or season it was, and it seemed normal at the time, but now I'm realizing that it's really not normal, and that's just my opinion. I don't think that we need to constantly go to Hobby Lobby, go to Michael's for every season and buy new or latest home decor. Oftentimes, that stuff just gets put in boxes in the garage or storage closet, and then we forget that we have it and we buy more every year. So I will just not be participating in decorating my home for another reason, because I live in an apartment and I've actually been in apartments since I could live on my own. And so I'm a renter. And as a renter, I never know how long I'm really going to stay in a place. And usually I'm there for a few years. And what I have found that when I accumulate things like house decor, that stuff has to go with me when I move. And it's honestly just such an overwhelming hassle to have to buy a U-Haul for a bunch of decor and home items. And so at this point in my life, as someone who rents and doesn't own a home, I just don't find it necessary to go out and buy a bunch of seasonal home decor just for the aesthetics and the vibes. Honestly, my apartment is so plain, you would not see my personality or what my home decor taste is if you walked into my apartment. And honestly, that's just something I'm okay with. I don't need my apartment to be cute. I need to have stable finances to where I'm not going in debt over home decor and just trying to make my home look aesthetically pleasing and comfortable. Another item I will not be purchasing this year is going to be organizing containers. I have seen these videos so many times come across on my Instagram or on YouTube, and it's aesthetically pleasing, I would say, to watch these not home decor, these organizing container videos where they buy a bunch of clear plastic containers from Amazon and they perfectly fit their cabinet storage or drawers in their bathroom or kitchen. And then they go through and they organize everything and make it look super aesthetic. And also you get the ASMR and the vibes are just, I guess, aesthetic. Like you want that vibe of everything just being so clean and polished, but honestly, I'm okay with my life being messy if it saves me money on those containers. I've thought about doing it before. When I looked at the prices, it's like $30 for maybe just 1 or 2 drawers of plastic containers. Save yourself the money, go to the Dollar Tree store if you have one in your area, or Walmart. It's likely going to be cheaper if you go there. But I also just want to say that you don't need to have your home aesthetic and super pleasing like you see on social media and like you see the influencers do. That is a way for them to, one, get views on their content because they know people like to watch that type of content, and that is what their content is about. It's about being organized, it's about aesthetic. But your home doesn't have to be that way, and it's okay to be a little chaotic and messy, and you don't have to fall for keeping up with the Joneses and having a home that looks super eye pleasing. And another thing I feel like is when you buy all of these organizing containers, yes, you do save storage space, and you probably find like, wow, I saved a lot of space. It's more organized, it's more clean. I can buy more stuff to fill these containers. That is something I noticed too, is like there is this desire then to just impulse buy more things so that you can fill up the containers and space, and so that you feel like you've utilized all of the storage. Item number 11 I will not be falling for buying is perfume. I feel like I maybe this is just my Instagram, but I've seen other like influencers create their own perfume lines, and that's just something I'm personally not going to spend my money on because I, first of all, prefer to just smell clean. Because I've experienced when people have a really strong scented perfume, whether it's in a store or a restaurant, it's really uncomfortable. Like, especially if it's just not your personal smell or preference, which is fine, to each their own. I totally get that, you deserve to wear a scent that you like, and it doesn't matter if other people don't like it. But then I also see the reverse where it's like, well, I don't want to wear something strong and overpowering that other people don't like. That being said, perfume is super expensive. It can be super overpriced for a bottle that also takes quite a while to go through. And I see sometimes where people have just a whole like countertop full of perfume, and perfume has a shelf life. It doesn't last forever. And perfume bottles are anywhere between 80 to a few $100s depending on the perfume brand you wear. I just don't see the need to spend money on perfume when you can honestly get by with taking a shower, smelling fresh and clean, and using deodorant. And that's just something that I would rather not spend my money on. The last item I will not be spending my money on is any trendy water bottles that are the mainstream or hype right now. What was it, Stanley mugs that have been like super popular over the past few years. I personally have never bought a Stanley mug, mainly because I knew I wouldn't like the handle part. I just didn't see like how that would be convenient for my personal use. I did back in college, I was super about the hydro flask, but then now I found another brand because I happen to either lose my water bottles or leave them someplace, and this has happened to me like 2 or 3 times over the past like 2 years. And so I was tired of spending my money on super expensive water bottles that are insulated and have no leak. And honestly, almost all the water bottles these days are insulated and likely are going to keep your ice from melting for at least 6 to 12 hours. So the brand I've been using is Iron Flask, and for the ounce that I like, I think I get the 64 ounce. I think it's only like $30. It does the job. It keeps my hot beverages hot. It keeps my cold beverages cold for hours. And I just don't feel like I need to fall for the trend that I need a water bottle to either match my outfit or to just be on brand with the aesthetic water bottles these days, because ultimately you just need a water bottle to do its job. And I also don't even have a backup water bottle. When I have lost it, I just wait the 4 to 5 days to order a new one. I think that's something that really influences our consumer culture these days, and our influencer culture is needing everything to be so convenient. And so I'm going to wrap this up with just kind of sharing my thoughts on convenience and why we feel we need everything to be so easy and in the moment and convenient. And that is where I think in this day and age of overconsumption, capitalism, marketing, and trying to de-influence ourselves, we need to realize that not everything needs to be so convenient. We don't need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of something. It's okay to have one pair of whatever it is, whether it's a water bottle, whether it's your running shoes, and then for it to no longer work, to wear out, or for you to lose it before you order something else. And it's okay to wait a week for shipping. Like, I promise you won't die. When I don't have my water bottle because I like lost it or whatever, I just drink from a mug. I drink from a mug in my house and I fill my water up. Yes, it's a little more inconvenient because I had to fill it more frequently, but I do survive that week of waiting for my item to be shipped and arrive at my door. Another item that I don't have is a toaster. I don't know why. I think I lost my toaster when I moved, but I never bought a new one because to me, I told myself, like, why do I need so many kitchen appliances? There are a gazillion kitchen appliances these days, especially by the brand like Ninja, from your air fryer to your like soda maker to your ice cream maker, your smoothie blender, and then to like your food processor and your stand mixer. There's just so many kitchen appliances and household appliances. And I personally don't have all of the kitchen storage and cabinet space for a million different kitchen gadgets and items. So now that I don't have a toaster, I think for a year now, I've just been toasting my toast in a pan. Yes, it's a little more inconvenient and it takes longer than if I was to pop it in a toaster, but it works. It does the job. And I've been getting by without it. I could see like if I had kids and I was on the go and I had to constantly be going and taking kids places, that yeah, maybe I would want a toaster because it would like save me more time. But I think sometimes we need to just slow our lives down and realize that sometimes our overconsumption is due to the fact that we constantly feel in a rush and we're constantly feeling the need to go from one place to another. We just don't want to be inconvenienced by having to slow down and take our time. I think if we did that, if we all leaned into maybe a slower living lifestyle just a bit more in some areas of our lives, then we could actually cut out a lot of spending that we think we need when we really don't need it. Um, so that's my little rant on spending and stuff like that. Overall, I hope some of these items just give you food for thought on your own spending journey. If you are looking to cut items out, to budget, to save your money, I know for myself that cutting these items out and building the habit and routine of not impulse spending has greatly helped me to be more financially equipped to plan my other financial goals, to pay off debt, and to just budget my expenses so I can actually put money towards my long-term financial goals. If I gave into every impulse buy that I wanted like I used to in the past, I would not have been able to make such a significant dent in my debt, and I wouldn't have my credit card almost paid off in under 6 months. So ultimately, I just think it is beneficial in the long run if you can to cut out unnecessary spending, to cut out impulse buying, and to not fall for the idea that you need all of these things to feel a sense of fulfillment and happiness in your lives. Because honestly, if you think about it, I'm sure you can think on something that you really, really wanted. You finally bought or made the purchase, it arrived at your door, and you maybe felt that joy for like a day or a week, and then it wore off and it became a product that was just another product in your home that, yes, maybe makes things a little more convenient, but it doesn't change your overall fulfillment and joy in life. I think if we really reflect, the things that bring us the most joy and happiness is usually time freedom, time to relax and put towards our own hobbies, spending time with our loved ones and our friends, And yeah, hopefully these are just some food for thought. This is just some food for thought that you can reflect on to help change your spending habits and achieve your personal financial freedom goals. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was a bit long. And also, I just wanted to say that I do plan on making a recap of my July spending this week. So I will be doing that, recapping my July financials and like just doing an overall July financial review and then resetting my finances for August. And that will probably come out maybe Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful at all, please don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can let the algorithm know that you enjoyed this video and hopefully it can reach more people. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.